I spoke to 5 Jujutsu Kaisen YouTubers and asked them their favourite curse techniques. Jujutsu Kaisen is one of my favourite shonen anime and mangas of all time, and as a result I consume a lot of JJK content on YouTube, and so I got curious. You see, one of the great things about Jujutsu Kaisen is its power system, despite how confusing it can sometimes be. I love the power system. More specifically, the thing that I love about said power system is its curse techniques. So I decided to get in contact with some of my favourite Jujutsu Kaisen content creators and ask them what their favourite curse techniques are. Some of these creators you may have heard of, some of them you may not have. But if this video does well, maybe I can get in contact with some more JJK YouTubers, get them together and discuss the series some more with them. Goes without saying, but all the channels mentioned will be linked below in the description, and I hope you give them a look, as I like all the content these fine creators make. Also, manga spoilers, obviously. But with that being said, let's get into the first YouTuber and ask them their favourite curse technique.
I hate power scaling.
This is Orion. His channel mainly focuses on Jujutsu Kaisen related stuff, the majority of these being episode reviews from the second season, mainly the Shibuya arc of JJK, with some other videos that branch into stuff about Dragon Ball, as well as his thoughts on power scaling. And with his most recent video, as of the writing of this script, he's released a compilation of all his videos on the Shibuya arc, so if you want to give his content a try, his channel will be below in the description. Quick edit, he actually uploaded again since I wrote the script, and has since made a video about Space Dandy, and who doesn't like Space Dandy? But with that being said, since his channel mainly focuses on the JJK anime, I was curious to hear what his favourite technique was. So, I asked him, what's your favourite curse technique?
I'll be honest, I'm a lazy guy, so anything that makes my life easier would be great. So when I thought about it, I would either put Boogie Woogie or whatever Wee's curse technique ends up being, because I'm pretty sure it's just a teleportation technique, and you already know I'd be spamming that.
Wait, so it's literally just teleportation or teleportation?
Yeah, basically. One of them's cooler because you get to like throw a rock and then teleport to it. You can be flashy with it, and one of them is just teleportation. But other than that, if I wanted to do good in the world, I guess I'd pick Idle Transfiguration, because Mahito uses it to f people, but
he did help, you know, Mekamaru at one time.
That means that it is possible to do to other people. So, you know, you can cure cancer and shit. I don't know.
I mean, he cured Mekamaru's, but then he just, you know,
killed him.
Ripped. Do you have a favorite use of Boogie Woogie specifically?
Let me think. Oh man, I think I really like the way Yuji and Toto did it with like just throwing the rock and then Toto swapping to it. I think the anime, like even if it's just him swapping with the rock, the way it was animated with like the black flash and everything, that was like pretty fire.
It made it look so fucking gorgeous when it's so simple.
Yeah, it's just him teleporting to a rock. Yeah,
it's just like Shambles in One Piece. No, that was bad. It's just like Shambles. Have you watched or read any One Piece?
Yeah, I'm more or less caught up.
Yeah, just law, just teleporting with stuff. It's literally just that. Boogie Woogie, Ooey's curse technique. But let's be honest, that's never going to get revealed.
No, it'll probably be like in a data book or something at some point.
Bruh. Hello everybody, I'm Eternal Flame.
Eternal Flame here is a content creator that mainly focuses on power scaling videos for Jujutsu Kaisen. Sukuna vs Santa, what the f? But he has chapter reviews in there, some technique discussions and theories, some versus battles. He has a good few things to choose from on his channel if you like Jujutsu Kaisen. But if you want chapter reviews that come out same day the leaks come out, he's your guy. So Eternal Flame here is clearly a huge fan of JJK, and is very clearly caught up with the latest chapters, and is well versed in Jujutsu Kaisen lore. So I was curious, and I asked him, so what is your favourite curse technique?
So for me, I'm kind of in between two curse techniques, which is blood manipulation and sky manipulation. Purely because, like, blood manipulation is really, really cool to me because it's specifically blood within your own body. Choso kind of just reps this technique and makes it super, super cool. I think you agree with me on that, right?
I agree, but like, when you look at other people's use of it, like the only other use with Camo, it's kind of like, I get why it's your favourite, because Choso is like the goat of blood manipulation, or you could argue like the Kenjaku version, who would have had blood manipulation, but we haven't seen that, or I doubt we ever will. But like,
same here. For me, it has to be like the sheer raw amount of versatility Choso offers, the potential of it now being on a stronger user, depending on how much you believe in the entire Yuji's blood manipulation theories. I'm a huge believer of it, by the way.
I don't know. I just think it'll be weird if he whips out like Wing King or some bullshit. I think that'd be funny. But
oh yeah, 100%.
But yeah, Choso is the best blood manipulator, hands down. That is just
100%
objective.
And then there's Uro with her like sky manipulation, which is basically like nerfed Infinity in a way, but at the same time not. It's just I like sky manipulation so much. The ability to fly has always been a really cool one to me, and also just the ability, like Uro's like is realistically untouchable in a 1v1. The only reason Yuta won is, well, A, Ryu is the one who knocked out Uro. Let's get that straight. But also,
Right.
Uro's just ability is so busted. Finn Icebreaker, I absolutely love. Just how the way Uro fights is great. And she just shows that ability to its, like, amazing levels. I love Sky Manipulation for passion.
It just would have been nice if she just reacted to the Granite Blast, that's all.
To be fair, that was Domain, and, like, she was on a cooldown, so she couldn't exactly use it.
I mean, at the same time, though, just after the Domain clash where she's like, oh, Kurushi's not a good fit for me, I don't know how that would interact. I don't f***ing know, man. I don't make power scaling videos. I don't know this shit.
The reason why is basically because, like, Uro's Sky Manipulation, she kind of has to, like, use her arms to direct it, so it kind of makes her really bad in 2v1s, because it makes her easy to jump, because, like, she can't use Sky Manipulation on 2 separate directions at once.
Yeah.
Is the reason? Yeah.
I get that. You said the idea of flying is kind of cool, but in the anime only, with the fight between Chozo and Kenjaku, Chozo was f***ing flying.
Yep.
There you go. Blood Manipulation wins again. It's just the
Blood Manipulation is the best technique. What can I say? It's just the ability to manipulate your own juice. It's great.
Just don't look at any of Chozo's fights. just at all. Fights Kenjaku. That doesn't go well. Fights Yuji. Takes 3 hits. Fucking dies.
3 hits of lethal damage.
See Scooter for 3 seconds. Oh. Just, oh my god.
Blood Manipulation is such a cool technique and concept. They just, yeah. Users of it. Big suck.
Except the idea of just, like, the possibility of a Kenjaku who's probably just dope as fuck with it is still there, but he also chose, you know, Curse Manipulation over it. He chose the gravity stuff over it. So,
yeah.
It kind of been that great for him for some reason.
I feel like it has a lot more potential than the users have shown off, but that's just because I feel like the users have skill issues. I'm not gonna lie.
Hey, don't talk bad about Chozo. Please don't. I just fucking met you and you're about to make me cry. There's no need for that, man. Jesus fuck. Oh. There was probably like 2 minutes of actual cast technique talk there.
The Espada. The 10 strongest Orion cards who are ranked from weakest to strongest from
Mookie. I got introduced to Mookie through the previously mentioned Eternal Flame, so it makes sense that his content is of a similar ilk, focusing mainly around power scaling and versus battles in JJK. However, he's got some Bleach videos sprinkled in there. If you like JJK's power scaling, you'll like both Mookie and Eternal Flame. When looking at Mookie's channel, you'd assume he may choose the Infinite as his favourite curse technique, as Gojo is his profile picture. But, unexpectedly not. He chose a rather surprising technique when I asked. So what is your favourite curse technique?
Repeat that?
What? It's the main question you know I was going to ask. What do you mean?
I think said, what's my favorite character?
What's your favorite curse technique, dude? That's the whole point.
My favorite curse technique is projection sorcery.
Okay, fair enough. No one said that.
Yeah, no, I'm a simple but easy man to impress.
I mean, you say it as if it's a simple ability. There is a bit of depth to it.
No, I'm talking about, like, it's just... Obviously, to, you know, the most easy goers, it's just, he's really fast. But what I like about it is, like, it's a complex and, like, you have to actually be smart and careful about the ability.
Do you have a specific, like, preference? Do you prefer, like, when now you use it or Naobito?
Definitely now, yeah. Like, okay, so this is why I have to keep telling people this. I like Naoya as a Zenin. I don't like it, like, I don't like his personality in the sense that it's, you know, he says some questionable things. But I enjoy his character and, like, what he does with projection sorcery. That's what makes him fun about him. In particular, the amount of applications he does that Naobito couldn't just blows my mind. Like,
I don't know about disliking his character. He says some heinous shit, but, like, his view on Toji and Gojo is kind of cool. And then he just gets smacked in the mouth. I think that's funny as fuck.
I know that. I'm saying in the sense, like, him saying some like, that
like,
thing
yo,
about mine.
Maki,
People
get back in the kitchen, that kind of shit.
Yeah, that's like, look, if he didn't say that, I think he would, like, no one would even care about the other stuff. It's just, when he said, like, those 2 things, like, a woman should walk behind a man, I was like, all right, man, you might be tweaking.
We got him, like, fighting Choso, and he's like, I don't like to use knives, but you blood users. Then, granted, a tidal wave of blood hits him in the mouth, and he's completely fucked. But, like, for that split second, he seemed really cool.
Yeah, it's just, like, projection sort, like the domain expansion, too. Like, that's another thing. Curse Spirit Nalia is also pretty cool, but his domain is, like, underrated, in my opinion. I don't know, like, if you care about that at all.
I like the domain expansion. It's cool. Granted, it is kind of annoying that it's used against 2 random motherfuckers and Maki, who it doesn't work on. So it's like,
okay, so look, I'm gonna say it like this: if it could have recognized Mookie, now you would have won. That would have. There's no debate about that. Like anybody who's in that domain can't win unless they have another domain, because literally all your cells have to move at 124 frames. And even now, he's like, oh yeah, if you can't do that, or even if you try to do that, you're still gonna get messed up by it. Like you're gonna get like cut up, or you're gonna like move in the opposite direction without even realizing it. Like he's literally in control. Like that's literally like what a domain should be. It's like the domain caster just invincible in that point.
That fucking sure hit effect that they always love to like say, even though domain expansions never, like most of the time, don't end fights.
Yeah, if now you like, I kid you not, if I were to make a tier list, anybody beneath Nalia, if they were in that domain, even if they open up a domain, I think Nalia would still just win or just speed blitz. And then like keep in mind, Nalia didn't even move in his domain expansion. Could you imagine how fast he would be while in there? Like it would have
made in heaven type shit from JoJo. Goddamn.
Yeah, I'm saying like there's a reason he killed him like that. Like there's a reason Mookie hit him from behind. That's what I'm gonna say.
Do you have a specific like favorite use in regards to like a specific shot in a specific fight when now you used it?
Nalia and Naobito, one of my favorite scenes is just them, I guess, and like this is why I kind of liked it in the anime, is like it's literally just animation. But my favorite scene is when they literally turn them into a freeze frame and they can't move. Like that alone is just cold. When now, like, what is it? Page 2 or 3 of 151.
God damn.
When Nalia just like touches Mookie. Yeah, I'm a big Nalia fan, bro. I'm like, trust me, like that fight is one of my favorites.
No, he says some so shit. I don't know if I like him that much. Page 2 of God damn, dude.
That fight, yeah. Nalia's introduction was 139, but that specific fight is amazing in terms of just animation and art quality. Although it has like some like iffy things. The reason I like it so much is just like I like speedsters. And that fight was just speed versus speed. And that's why I like when Nalia's like, oh, I can get faster than this, or I can do this.
That's, yeah, just touching Choso on the chest and turning him into a fucking animation cell. It's pretty dope. And then when Naobito does it to Dagon and he's just bitching about fucking 4K 60 FPS. That's just dope as hell.
Yeah, exactly. The ability, the application of it is insane. It's supposed to be like this simple ability where everyone's like, he's moving super fast. Like, how is he doing this? And then when you actually dig deep, you're like, oh, it's like this complicated fucking curse technique that like, you'd have to be like a giga brain genius to even like understand the applications of it. Because even Mookie took like a whole fight to even understand it. She's in the Zenin clan.
But yeah, that's like literally that's pretty much it.
Could Satoru Gojo exercise the Ace of the Ten Shadows curse technique Maharaga with the recent
Jaded or Jaded Satoru or Satoru Jaded is a power scaler, just like Mookie and Eternal. However, my goofy mind didn't realize something when going through his videos. If you look at his catalogue of videos, one character shows up a bit more than most. You, the viewer, probably are a bit more aware of this than me when looking at this dude's profile picture, his banner, his goddamn username. It's fair to assume this guy's favourite curse technique is probably to do with Gojo. I didn't realise this. My dumb ass didn't put 2 and 2 together until I was in the call with him. So despite me realising as soon as I called him, I still asked the question anyway. So, what's your favourite curse technique?
If my name is Satoru Jaded, it's going to be the Limitless. And it's only because it's like, when you look at certain curse techniques, you really see the reflection on a character's personality. I mean, Kenjaku just says that thing blatantly in Shibuya, where he's like, curse techniques define a sorcerer's world. So if you take that and keep it in mind with Gojo, from birth, his world is really just limitless, right? Like, the guy is born and there's a whole new level of power added straight at the top of the pyramid, right? If he's put in any other position, the limit of power is going to be the level right above, right? But the fact that he's placed the level at the very top really just speaks to the fact that he's from birth has this like limitless amount of potential and power, right?
I'm just thinking of like that one like moment where you've got child Gojo just looking up at fucking,
exactly.
I forget the names. They're fodder, let's be honest. The old lady in verse.
Well, Ogami and what's his name? Awasaka?
That might be it, yeah. Just that, just that shot of him just staring up at the. Oh.
Yeah, like Gojo. I mean, like even as a kid, you really just see the level of power he's standing on, and in a world where people relate through combat, isn't fighting alongside or even against each other, like Ryu and Yuta, even to the point where like even as just opponents, like if you really want to chat about that for a little bit, Ryu got such a strong connection with Yuta that his gaze alone just melted Yuta's heart. Like that's pretty crazy, even though Yuta never found the meaning in fighting, right?
Yeah.
Then you take people like Toto and Yuji literally becoming best friends, Kashimo and Akari, like you can go on and on and on, right? So in a world where people fighting alongside each other or even fighting against each other as combatants in a level where they can compete in some way makes them have those strong connections, obviously Gojo from birth is going to feel alone, and it's like all just a reflection of his technique, right? You can say for a short period of time like he had Geto, right? But if you want to keep that technique thing in it, like in mind, right? And it's that the technique is the thing that makes Gojo feel alone because of how strong he is. It's no wonder why after training his technique and after really like perfecting a lot of aspects of the Limitless, Gojo not only becomes the strongest, which is like the position that destines him for loneliness, but he can no longer go on missions with Geto because Geto he has no reason to be there anymore, right? So they both end up feeling more and more alone.
I've just got a single question, right?
Yeah.
So is the Infinite your favorite because it's used by Satoru Gojo, or is Gojo Satoru your favorite because he uses the Infinite?
Oh my god, I really I love that quote so much because let's talk about Infinity for a second, right? Where do I even want to start? Infinity, it's a play on a figurative sense of space and a literal sense of space, right? Like Gojo says that he's always felt that there's been something between himself and people around, right? And you can say it's a power difference, right? But if the power is what make Gojo feel alone, Infinity is an infinite amount of space between himself and everyone else around, right? So it's a play on itself and a callback.
You just love like the symbolic nature of it as well.
Yeah, I think it's so peak. Like I love the symbolism.
What about like the other facets of it? Of like the techniques that are created from it? Red, blue, purple.
You know how Geto is like to Gojo, he's talking about, he's like, you're telling me that I can't do something that's impossible when you can literally do it and it'd be possible for you? It's like, Gojo's character from the beginning was always doing like the impossible, right? And the Limitless itself is just these physic breaking things. Like purple in itself is an imaginary mass. Can I describe it? Do I know what it is? Not really. To me, it doesn't really make sense, but I kind of think that's like the point. It's just something that doesn't really exist. It's an infinite amount of space pulling one way and an infinite amount of space pulling the other. What do you make of that? Something imaginary.
For like, what was it, a fan book or something? Gege got like university lecturers to explain Gojo's technique.
You're talking about I think it's the Giga something math lecture, something like that. But even then, like they had a hard time with it. Like, it's just something that's crazy. It's like the whole technique itself is like constantly physic breaking itself.
I can tell, given your name, you're very much a big Gojo fan. So if I don't ask another question now, I feel like you'll just keep going. So do you have a specific favorite use of either the Infinite or a facet of it? So like, maybe a use of Hollow Purple, like in the fight with Schooner, where red and blue just kind of combine, and Schooner screamed for Maharaga, even though he wasn't using all of his power.
Yeah, so my favorite use of Gojo using just a facet of his technique is going to be like, let's see, probably 0.2, honestly. I really do think it's 0.2.
I get that, because it literally says he just instinctually decided it would be 0.2 seconds, like that would be the right amount.
Yeah, it's also like, when Gojo was pushed against the corner, right? And it really came down to his own intuition and skill and his own like ability to kind of like overcome the challenge. It's like, even using the thing that like makes him as strong as he is, they don't even credit Gojo, they credit the strongest, right? It's like, oh, at the hands of the strongest Jujutsu sorcerer, even though it's like all Gojo's wit and knack and explosive thinking that really got the job done.
I'm Jeff Thu, professional bag, signing out from my mother's basement.
Mother's basement. So if you've consumed much anime content on YouTube for the past, like, I'd say about 8 to 9 years at this point, chances are you've at the very least heard, if not watched, some of Mother's Basement's videos. He's kind of a staple in the anime YouTube community. I mean, going back and watching some of his old videos for the sake of this video made me really feel ancient, as it turns out I've been watching these dudes' videos for a long damn time. The first video of his I watched was about Death Parade. Jesus, that ages me. Overall, he makes videos about each season's best and worst, analysis of anime OPs, as do I, analysis of fight scenes, random anime topics, like why so many AMVs have Linkin Park for some reason. Like, when I say this dude is an OG on the weeb YouTube scene, I mean it. And as this dude has been around the block when it comes to anime, including a fair amount of shonen, I grew intrigued. So I asked him, what is your favorite curse technique?
Don't want to like lean into recency bias too much. I thought about this a lot, and I was going to say Boogie Woogie for a while because it's really fun. There's a lot that can be done with it, but I've thought about it probably more than is reasonable, and I decided that Takeba's power comedian is like far and away the coolest one, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my take, and for a couple reasons. One, I mean, it's really fun. Anybody who's been keeping up with the latest chapters of
Yeah.
the manga. That's like probably the best fight, in my opinion. That's the best fight of like the whole Culling game so far. Even if people, you know, like I can see the argument for Gojo versus Sukuna. Obviously, that one was pretty fucking tight, and there's some like really good ones leading up to that. I was very tempted to say Judge Man, because Judge Man's like,
Oh yeah,
great
Higuruma.
album. There's a lot of really good stuff that's come out in the Culling game, but like the more I think about it, the more I love Takeba, because you know it's such a creative power set. There's, you know, it's literally the Roger Rabbit principle. So there's a scene where he's handcuffed to the detective Valiant, and then while he's sawing through the cuffs, he's just like, hey, can you help me out here? And he's like, oh yeah, sure. Pulls his hand out of the cuff and just helps him steady it. And then he's like, wait, could you take your hand out of the cuff at any time? And he says, no, only when it was funny. And that's,
like,
you know, that's
like comedy tune logic in a sense.
That's the logic that Takeba's whole thing works on, which is great. That's just a super fun ability in general. But like what I love specifically is how it ties into the broader conversation that Jujutsu Kaisen has about shonen power systems in general. Because like the whole series is very heavily inspired by Hunter x Hunter. And you know, Gege, he reads a lot of shonen manga, and he's inspired by a whole bunch of different stuff, right? And all of those influences kind of coalesce into Takeba specifically, because gag manga characters have always been the most powerful characters in Shonen Jump. Hands down, no question. That's been true since Dragon Ball, when they first brought Arale in and stomped Goku. Ever since, that has been the rule. And Takeba makes that canonical in the JJK power system in a way that completely fits with how the power system works, but still expresses that like gag manga supremacy idea. So it's like, it serves as a very interesting genre commentary, but then also it uses one of my favorite limitations in any shonen manga, which is the okuyasu limitation, where a guy has like the most OP power,
but the user.
But I mean, in Takeba's case, he's not too stupid to use it. He just doesn't fully understand how it works. And understanding how it works would probably make it not work, because when you explain a joke, it stops being funny.
But at the same time, there's that one line when they first introduced Takeba that says it's a curse technique that could surpass even Satoru Gojo.
Yeah, no, I mean, but it is, right? It's like literally he is a reality warper, right? That's what he does. He like, I mean, or at least he's like, it's hard to say exactly what he's doing, right? Like, is the alteration to reality functioning like a domain? Did Gege not think about that? There's a lot of like interesting questions there, right? But like,
one minute they're in the road, then they're in an ocean filled with Fanta. It's like, it's so all over the place, you can't really tell.
Yeah, he's like editing reality, and it's, you know, it is a power on par with, no, like above infinity, I would say, in terms of like its potential. I mean, really, that kind of reality editing, you know, like the most powerful JoJo villains have those kinds of abilities. Except not, you know, even there's restrictions, right? Like, it's literally whatever he thinks is funny. And the only tactic that seemed to have, like, any effect against him was when, you know, Kenny started making him doubt if he was funny, which is such a great, God, I just love every bit of that chapter. Like, every new page is just a new, excellent thing. And you know, the fight that he's introduced in is really fun too. He hasn't been utilized that much. I don't know. I love the whole idea behind it. Yeah, the reason I kind of waffled on it was because it's so recent, right? Like, it's one of the most recent powers introduced. So I was like, am I just being like, oh, shiny new thing? But you know, like, I thought about it hard after watching, you know, the Toto fight, which, you know, that, like, you watched the anime, obviously. That was like legendary, and I thought about it really hard, and I'm like, you know, I like how Toto uses Boogie Woogie, the conclusion I reached there. But Boogie Woogie as a curse technique in itself, while it is very versatile, requires a 530,000 IQ to really utilize it to the level that Toto does. Whereas like Comedian would be fun in anyone's hands. And I think like it's really interesting with Takeba because he's like a really great character. Everything that they've explored so far with him. It would be interesting to see other characters using that same power, right? Because then you'd see how like their different sense of humor manifests. Thinking about someone with like a really crappy, you know, like if Gojo had that, right? All of that power would just go to gaslighting Ichiji about random shit that Gojo made up, and then it would become real temporarily.
I mean, you've said that, but if you think about it, the last person to see Takeba was Yuta, and his CT is to copy people. So that in some world, we could get a Yuta who's trying to tell jokes, but I cannot ever see that character being funny ever.
That's not one of his skills, for sure. You know, speaking of going back to Takeba, yeah. I love that fight with him. Because, like, almost seemed like Kenny and him were going to become friends for a second there.
I mean, they kind of were.
They're on, like, such a similar wavelength. Of course, because Takeba's such a new character, there's not a lot to talk about here. I love him. I love that whole fight, and I love, like, the implication that Kenny must have spent a lot of time just being bored and watching manzai comedy on TV.
Do you have a specific moment, say, for example, in either the Kenjaku fight or his introduction, like a specific moment or use of that curse technique?
Nurse Kenny.
Of course.
It's just such a great gag.
I remember seeing the chapter and immediately just the amount of fan art that spawned out with thin air was ridiculous.
Before it was even out officially, there was. Oh
yeah, people didn't wait.
And Gege just unlocked something to people's brains with that.
He just knew.
But yeah, that's about all I got to say about it. I think. Hope that was helpful.
Yeah, that's perfect. The making of this video was some of the most fun I've had making videos for YouTube in a very long time. If you've been on my channel for a while, you may have noticed that I haven't really collaborated with anyone on my channel before. I've analysed other channels, but it's mainly just me on here. But in making this video, I was not only given the opportunity to meet some really passionate fellow fans of one of my favourite anime manga series, but I just got to gush and discuss our thoughts on the latest chapters, our theories on what would happen next, what videos they were working on, and if they love Kusakabe, all the important questions, right? And it was just really fun to talk to people who make videos on the same sort of stuff as me. And I cannot thank all the channels enough who are willing to help me make this video. You guys are dope as hell. And as I said, links to all of them are in the description. Show them some love. I'd really appreciate it. So, yeah. Thanks again for watching. Thanks again to those who were in this video. I cannot thank you all enough. And toodles, my doodles. Hopefully I see you in the next one. Peace.